We've been requested to share a few exam tips. About 7 slides I have, but there's quite some content on it. It might take 15 minutes. It can take half an hour. But please feel free. I'll give you opportunity at the end of the presentation to ask questions. So if you don't want to ask, you are welcome to post it in the chat feature, and I'll read it, or your lecturer will read it, and we'll try to answer the best we can. If there's anything that is undone, I will also leave my email address, and we will definitely get in contact with you as soon as possible. So with any without any further ado, this is specifically focused on taking the testing quizzes on a Canva, and I know you are well familiar with it, but we would just like to reiterate some important things, so to make the exam seamless, easy, and without any hurdles for you. So we hope that we can answer all those questions. So welcome once again. I'm excited to share this with you. So most of you will see this, or all of you will see this, and you're familiar with this. And this splash screen allows you as well just to take some tips, that share some tips with you immediately. One of them is to make sure you're the compatible browser, and I'm going to go into that. And there's many browsers, but we have experienced that Google Chrome and Mozilla has been very favorable to eCanva. So we would always encourage that. And for those of you using operating systems like Apple and so forth, the Safari browser. And we're going to talk about the pop-ups, and we're going to talk about how your exam is set. Is it linear, or is it just standard by default, where you can go to and fro, come back to a question? The progress bar that you see normally, and multiple tabs, something we're going to talk about, and how to save. Important to click on that save, and changing devices. And the last one is that you don't leave your laptop or your computer or even your phone when you do this exam. So, okay, so you know the splash screen, how to log in and log out. Now, please, before you do an exam, restart your computer. That's just my habit. In other words, I'm just refreshing the whole system. Sometimes our laptops or PCs on the whole night, maybe on standby or on sleep. But it's a good idea to switch it off. And I think you've heard about this term called cold boot. So that means when you switch off your computer at the end of the day, you switch it on the next day. So it's like it gets up, it adds some sleep, So that's a good idea, good practice to switch off your computer completely. And then, so before you do an exam, just restart your PC, just refresh it, So let's go. Before I continue, here at the bottom, here more to the left, you'll see there's a Help Me, a Canva app, student portal, and a seed block. Please, whenever you have time, take a few minutes just to read what we are doing. All right. Now, like I said, internet browsers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now remember, I'm gonna take your questions once we are done. You've heard all about the OpenVPN, the effort that the university has been making, and about getting you guys on a zero-rated educational platform. So the OpenVPN, when you go to my UWC, you know how to download it and access it. The reason why you would want to use the OpenVPN, because most of you use the different 4, 5, 6 different mobile data service providers. So remember, it only applies for mobile service providers. So if you have at home a DSL connection, that does not apply for that. And when you have these Wi-Fi, I think these companies are called Vuma and so forth, that does not apply to them. Only remember the SIM cards, the ones that works with the SIM cards. I think that makes it much easier for you to remember. So please log in. Make sure you are logged in before you use any other resource. That means the reverse billing system that the university is employing, it will be billed to the university and not to you. And I think most of you have seen that your data stays steady. So it's only for the Canva and the UWC site. I think it's the library. I think we've seen a few mails to tell you exactly, but we're focusing today on tests and quizzes. No? All right. So number 2, my second bullet would be to disable your pop-up blockers. Sometimes there is pop-ups that come and that can hinder the connectivity. So make sure that those pop-ups that you disable at that time, right, beforehand. So always remember, sit half an hour at least, or hour before you do your exam. Make sure your system is working. You've been doing tests, and I know most of you have done it successfully. So that's just a precaution. I know you guys do it already. And now, the third bullet, clear your browser cache. Why, Terence? Sometimes the cache is so filled with information that at times you can't access something on Canva. So it's very simple. Maybe it locks you out or something. Just go and Google clear browser cache, and then it will take you through the settings. It's about 3 steps. Very easy, and it doesn't take more than a minute. Okay, so like I said, do it before time. Don't wait. Just sit an hour before. Make sure you've done all these steps. No? And I spoke now about, before we start, about the compatible browsers. I think you've seen the notice from Microsoft that they are retiring Internet Explorer after 20 years. So even an Explorer needs retiring. Okay, so that Explorer has done its job, and now the Google Chrome browser is being really, as a champion. So get it to you. It's for free on Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, and as well for those of you using MacBooks. Let me just close the door. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and then of course, one thing that we experience too often, you cannot do a test on multiple tabs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's wrong for number 1. Okay? You can't do it on another PC and then another device and another device. Okay, that is not ethical. So, and we can see it from our side when we do the check. And I don't know, I know I'm speaking to the converted. Most of you don't do that, but there's some students, I don't know why, but don't do that, because it's just going to cause you problems. No? So if there's any problem, your first point of call is just to email your lecturer. No? Or if your lecturer has a WhatsApp group, awesome. No? Or if you have a tutor, work according to those systems, and then you will be helped very easily and quickly. No? Right. Now, before starting a test, make sure you log on to Canva. Like I said now, log out and log in. Okay, refresh your computer, all those things I say. Read your instructions carefully before you start the test. So, many students, we find that sometimes they just think it's a normal test, but there might be special instructions that your lecturer or your facilitator has provided. And for that, most of the lecturers are giving you more time than what you're supposed to get. Many of them get you 15 extra, half an hour, even an hour. So that extra time, try to employ it by reading those instructions carefully. Take down a pen, make a note what you're supposed to read. No? All right, and like I said now, close all those other browsers. Have only one browser. Before I started this presentation, ladies and gentlemen, I closed my WhatsApp tab. I closed my Facebook tab. I closed that tab. I'm busy with work now. I'm busy training you students. I need to respect you. I need to, although you can't see anything from my side here, except hearing my voice and see the presentation, I have to make sure that the presentation is not, there's no interference. And I think you would feel the same way. I know you guys are very serious about your tests, that there's no interference. Okay, so you are just doing the thing that you're supposed to do, and that 99% you are doing the right thing. That 1% is always that 1%, that something can happen. But as I said before, you've got to add mostly smooth innings. Okay, so do not have a phone, a cell phone, a smartphone, a tablet, and another PC open. You'll be caught out. Okay, we don't want that embarrassment for you. If you feel nervous, you don't have to feel nervous after today. After today, Terence has really, and your lecturer and the teaching specialist that's here, everybody has made an extra effort just to help you. Okay, so that's prior to the test, your pre. Now, sometimes like I say in the instructions, you will know about this. So if your lecturer said the test has been set up in a linear fashion, that means you can't go back to that question. It's impossible. The system won't allow it. But if it's normally by default, you can go to and fro. And you are familiar with that little progress bar, so you can skip through questions. No, there's nothing wrong doing that, and go to the hard questions first, and do your lower order thinking questions last. No, if you want to do your higher order thinking questions first, that's fine. It's up to you, but manage your time. Someone sent me an email this morning, a very good email, a student. Should I, what do they mean by 3 hours? Does it mean after 3 hours I must submit, or within the 3 hours? And I know you know the answer. Within that 3 hours, within that hour. Yeah? All right. So focus again on the test. Beware of software updates and virus scans if you have to deactivate your stuff. Normally you schedule these things. No? Try to schedule them on a after hours. No? Okay. So also, and now listen to this one. Do not resize or refresh the screen when the test is being loading, okay, or when you're submitting. Leave it as it is, So let it just submit, okay. I would normally work on a full screen, maximize, I think we call it. And then when you do SI files, when you have to upload short questions, okay, make sure that you are typing it in your word processing document, whether it's Microsoft or if it's a notepad. First, type it out there. Have it as a backup. Save it, copy and paste over, okay, and then you upload it. So have the backup, and then also when you have short essay types questions, apply the same approach by first typing it out, okay, not writing it out but typing it out, so there is a backup, okay, and then upload the file, okay. Now if you have any problems, before I go to this one, there's something I wanted to say now. Yes, make sure that you are aware of the load sharing schedule in your area. Okay. I know we can't always see it a week ahead or a month ahead or whatever. I know sometimes it comes suddenly upon us, but try to make yourself aware of that schedule. And your lecturer is also trying her best or their best to make sure that if there is power failures, which we know that there will be now, that you can take your test between that time that's given. Maybe they're giving it from 12 to 3 and it's an hour long, okay? So you know exactly what time. So also communicate with your lecturer. It's impossible for them to know everybody's schedule. But I know if you think that this will impact, you guys will have, of course, for the time, notice what time you're writing. Huh? So work with your lecturer, communicate, and let's work together, because these are things out of our control. Okay? All right, and the second last screen, I think, sorry, people, screenshot. It's very important that you send the screenshot. You can escalate it to your lecturer or your tutor, and they will escalate it to us. The reason for that is, if every one of you send at the same time, we will, of course, first tell you, speak to your lecturer. But if you can send it to your lecturer, then your lecturer will send it as a batch, and so it just helps us to streamline the process. So if you don't know how to do a sprint screen, press the Windows key, Shift and S, or you can press Control, Alt and print screen, okay? Or if you want to take a picture with your phone and send it to your lecturer, whatever system you use, you feel comfortable with, and then you email it to us, or you paste it and you email it to us. You can use the snip tool if you just want to cut out the other stuff, and just type there, dear so and so, this has happened. At the moment I cannot, I've been stalling here for 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, of course, you realize, hey, I need to communicate that. So additional resources. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Sorry, James, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
At the previous stage, we wrote a CRB test, and the same thing happened. I got a message on the screen, but I didn't know I was supposed to screenshot it. So then I just closed it, and I didn't have enough time to retype the questions, because after I closed the notification that popped up, my answer was gone. So then I just lost that now.
Okay, who's speaking now? Is it Dion? Kenny?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so don't worry about that. You report it to your lecturer. We will, from our side, our backend side, our software will pick up what you have done and what has happened. It's very accurate. It's a very powerful system. So if that does happen, we have another way of checking it out. Ne? So, Mr. Kenny, don't stress. Those things happen. You didn't plan for it to disappear. Is that right? So then we will communicate to your lecturer and then to you. No? Is that okay, Mr. Kenny? Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that question. I appreciate that. And my last screen, we will share this PowerPoint presentation with you. We will also share the recording with you. It will appear in the calendar, in your calendar. You will see there's a recording appear after a few minutes. So just some check in half an hour and you will see it there. And I will upload the PowerPoint presentation to you as well. Right? So please read our student tips that we send out. Like I showed you in the beginning. Let's go back. Here at the bottom, you see blog. All right, it's blogs. So you can go check what we said, as well as watch our video. We have a YouTube channel with how to do test quizzes, discussion forums, how to upload it. So it's quite comprehensive, and you can also read the splash screen, which we did at the beginning, the splash screen. Okay, so and then you have our email address, elearning@uwc or seat@uwc. Let me use a better email. You see this one, seat, CIECT at UWC, or you can type in elearning@uwc. It will bring it to the same box. So just leaving you guys with this beautiful picture. Aren't we all excited to go back to campus?